This is the ttArtisan 56mm f1.8 for Fuji. This was kindly sent to me by the folks of ttArtisan to review. And I really think that this lens is the signaling of a new era. And in this video, I'm going to share my experiences with this lens, the build quality, the autofocus, the performance, the shooting experience, and by the end, you'll know exactly why I think this lens signals a new era. So let's first get into the build quality, shall we? ttArtisan 56mm comes with a little lens cap, which is also its docking stations full of electrodes so you can update your firmware. It weighs about 240 grams, is made out of metal, no weather sealing, no aperture ring. The filter thread is 52 millimeters. The minimum focusing distance is 50 centimeters. It comes with a nice plastic hood, as you can see here, nice plastic hood, which you connect just on top of it, twist it, and it's on. Now, for the test of the ttArtisan 56mm, I basically brought my Fuji X-S20, where I'm currently filming on, and the main reason for that is that the X-S20 has the sensor of the X-T4, X-E4, X-T30 Mark II and X100V, while it has the processor of the X-T5 lineup and the X-H2 lineup. You get the great X-Trans4 sensor combined with the processor of the X-T550 and X-H2 series. And ttArtisans have also confirmed that this lens was also designed to be compatible with the latest and the greatest. Okay. Before we continue, consider subscribing if you're interested in which 56mm is the best. I've made a bunch on the Sigma versus Viltrox, the Sigma 56, and more to come in the future. Consider also joining my WhatsApp community, basically sharing your street and travel photography. You can see the link here in the description, the comments. Anyways, let's continue, shall we? The autofocus, obviously, on the X-S20 and the X-T5s is a very different beast from that of the X-T4. In a sense is that you do have a very different artificially intelligently driven autofocusing system. And what I found using this lens, that yeah, it works, but the actual artificial intelligence, it's kind of a hit and a miss. If you only put facial detection on, it works, but it does seem, the artificial intelligence does seem to prefer faces which are a bit further on. You can see some examples here. If you switch back to normal, yeah, you do. That's what I normally do, is single, and then you play with your single focusing, you play with your metering modes. The autofocus was very snappy on the ttArtisan 56mm. The IA, AF, when it comes to photography, I would say it's a hit and a miss, but it's still a good 80% you're actually hitting. When you want to record video, it becomes slightly different. It seems that the artificial intelligence picks up on the first, let's say, face, and then when you tilt to the actual side, it keeps on focusing on that particular face instead of focusing on the preferred single mode center, which I always have. So I found that a bit hit and miss. For video, doesn't matter to me because I normally record video on my phone anyways. With low light, I thought that the autofocus, if you switch off the IA, did a fantastic job. If you switch on a normal facial recognition, it does a good job. So I think from that particular point, pretty darn good what ttArtisans have done. Now, if we look at the lens characteristics or performance, whatever you want to call it, there's four things that I really appreciate in a lens. Good autofocus, a little bit of vignetting, but not too strong, no fringing, and a nice bokeh. Now, autofocus we just discussed. Let us now go into the vignetting. This lens at f1.8 has some vignetting, but it's minute. I wouldn't call it a big deal. When you go to f2.8, still a bit there, but I don't personally care about that much. It's so easy to do in post. It gives your images a little bit of character. So I personally think that the vignetting is extremely well controlled. Yes, for some people it might be a bit strong, but I think you're going to be nitpicking when you say it that way. I mean, it's amazing what they've done with the 56mm here. Really well done. Fringing. And if you don't know what fringing is, it's when you shoot in harsh light or in light and you see, let's say, a green or a purple kind of haze line above your subjects or in the background. And this is where I think that ttArtisans have done, I can't say anything else but a stellar job. I really had to go pixel peeping. I have two instances where I could find some light fringing. You see here a picture shot on Rynek Główny in Krakow, and basically if you go into the background and you really pixel peep, you see it a bit. You see it there on the bokeh ball, but that's it. That's it. And one where I was shooting in low light, but it was a police car, and all of a sudden it seems like there's a little blue beam coming straight into the lens, but those were the only two circumstances, and I've shot about 1100 pictures, various different circumstances, never seen anything. So ttArtisans, again, well done. Now then there's the bokeh, and apparently nowadays, you know, bokeh is the most important thing. For me, bokeh doesn't have to be superbly pronounced. At f2.0 you get pretty much balls sticking over each other. I don't care whether they're cat eye or not. At f5.6 for a close-up shot, hey, it works really well. It puts enough separation there, it gives a bit of character. So I think the bokeh in general is great. There's little to no fringing on it, as I just said. So well done again, ttArtisan. Now the overall characteristics of this lens, I have to admit, it's a little bit more contrasty, a little bit more, but in general I don't really see the difference here between a native lens and this particular lens. So again, well done. Now why do I think this lens, which comes in a package of 3 at ttArtisans, you have the 27mm, 35mm and the 56mm. Why do I think this is the start of a new era? Well, it does remind me of what I saw in the 80s when Bill Gates with Microsoft had a philosophy of basically everybody should be able to enjoy a PC at home. And more importantly, here in Europe, Ryanair in the mid-90s, end of 90s said flying should be affordable for everybody and everybody should be able to fly cheaply. This is what this reminds me of, because these lenses are challenging the status quo in the market. Like if you want to buy the Fujifilm 56mm f1.4 weather sealed, it's going to cost you a whopping $800 to $1,000 depending on where you live. This here is about $200. Will literally challenge the status quo, and it will also force companies like Fuji to come up with glass which is a little bit more affordable or truly exceptional with no flaws whatsoever. So that's why I think this will be the start of a new era. Now, if we roll on here to the type of photography where this lens is suitable for. Now, I told you 50 centimeters is a great minimum focus distance. This is not the, let's say, portrait lens alone. No, you can use this like I did for some food shots. You can use it for obviously portraits. You can use it for night photography because it's relatively fast. Good, decent autofocus, nice image quality, not too much vignetting, no fringing. Oh, fantastic. Architecture photography, yes, it's a little bit narrow, and you can basically see here why again I like to shoot with narrow lenses. Travel and street, it is a very good, capable companion. Yeah, so when we sum up, we're going to summarize now. Who is this lens for? Anybody. I think pro photographers will like this lens for various reasons, and I think people like you and me like it not only because of the price but also because it handles really well. It's light, it's fantastic in its image quality. Now if we're really going to be nitpicking, for this price I don't think you can get any better at the moment. I do think an aperture ring would be really nice, but I don't think ttArtisans would be able to keep this competitive pricing. Weather sealing would also be nice. A little bit of a gasket here, that would be nice, specifically more against dust than I would say moist. Moist is not my biggest problem, dust is. But other than that, fantastic lens.